It's time for another power-packed episode of Headspace with Dr. Mike. Each week, Dr. Mike is committed to addressing real life, sometimes polarizing and controversial issues, while offering practical and informed insight. Listen in as we discuss hot topics that matter to us and the communities we live in.
What's happening, Spacers?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Episode 9 of season 2. We are so excited to have you all. Christy and Rob. We got Rob today. Rob is hanging out with us. What's up, Big Rob?
Hey, what's going on, brother? Good to be here.
Man, it's so good to see you, man. So good to see you next to your beautiful queen. And we figured, you know what? We got a lot to talk about today. And I think Rob will be a great addition to our conversation. So he's gonna mess around and
you don't know what you got. You don't know what you asked for, Mike.
I know.
Good Lord, help us today.
He know what he asked for. Me and the brother go way back. He know what he asked for. He know what he was doing.
We're in trouble, audience. We are in trouble.
So first of all, thank you for everybody who's tuning in on our live broadcast. We broadcast live 11 a.m. Eastern time on social media, but then also we have many listeners who tune into the podcast throughout the week, literally around the world. And so we thank you all. You could be investing your time and energy in anything else, but you've chosen to hang out with Headspace with Dr. Mike. And so we are so grateful for you. Got to give a special shout out to the team over at Elevation Global Media. Thank you so much. It's the mothership. Thank you so much for just the support that you constantly give and just the encouragement that you give. And to our producer, Crystal, thank you for keeping us where we need to go. On that note, we got lots to talk about.
As usual, but even more so today.
We got a lot to talk about. And you know what? We're going to talk about the thing. We're going to talk about the thing. We've dedicated a good portion of the show to that. But there was some other news happening in the world before the thing, right? So what you got for us today, Christy?
I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm going to start with, so yesterday was April Fool's.
Yes, April
1st, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people do jokes. I think Rob did one at his job yesterday. Yeah. Played a little practical joke, just something cute. And I typically don't get in on it, but over the years, these jokes have gotten more and more like elaborate, and people got more and more creative. But one trend that had kicked up for a while was people were announcing false pregnancies, like they were pretending that they were pregnant on April 1st, and then saying April Fools. By now, pretty much if you post on April 1st that you're pregnant, nobody believes you, right? But what's happening is there's a lot of drawback from that. As we know, a large percentage of the population, unfortunately, both men and women, experience infertility, problems getting pregnant or losing their pregnancies, a lot of issues surrounding having a child. And so a lot of people it's like, you do that, it's a cardinal sin to do that, And so what we found is, despite that, celebrities and people are still doing that. So learned that Keke Palmer apparently announced yesterday she was pregnant. Don't know that that's true or not, but it seems like it's not. And then did you say who else did it, Mike?
Tiffany Haddish.
And this was yesterday she did it.
Yep, Tiffany Haddish posted something about a baby. Yep.
Yes.
I would have known that was April Fool's. Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah. So the question is, a lot of people are upset about it, about these celebrities and people in general doing it. So I want to know what your thoughts are about that. Are we too sensitive about it? Is it something? I mean, we know it's a joke. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, the two of you, my family also has dealt with that. So that for me is not something I would joke about, right? That's just not me. Now, for the record, and Sherelle and I had a great conversation about this yesterday. She is the practical jokester, and I'm not. Like I remember in college, I was traumatized by some of the things they did to folk with the jokes and stuff. And so I always just kind of was just like, you know what? I'm just not going to do it to people because I wouldn't want them doing it to me. That's just me. Because you wake me up. Because a lot of times there was one particular joke where they put like 20 those little alarm clocks. What's up, Mike Miller? They put those little alarm clocks and they hit them all in this boy's room. And they went off at like random times. And it was like funny. But I already know myself. And while, I'm a county boy, I'm still from Baltimore. And you wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning with some alarm clocks, and there's still some. I just don't know if I would have kept it holy. So I stay away from the practical jokes. I just do. And so I feel bad because I kind of take that from Sharella because she loves to do that. She came from a big family. That's how they pass time and stuff. But I do agree. I think that we do get to a point where we're sensitive. I don't throw that on to other people, right? Like if that's your joke, like enjoy yourself, and just I'm not going to participate, but at the same time, I'm not going to hold it against you. But I'm kind of just wired a little different, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I've been through the whole miscarriage. We've been through the whole miscarriage and all that. I don't. Maybe I'm just not. I know that I'm not that sensitive in that area. Like I'm not sensitive to the point where I can't take it as a joke. But that's me, and I understand that not everyone is going to receive it the same way. I don't think it's worth, the cancel culture or anything. I don't think anybody's saying that they're canceling Tiffany Haddish or Keke Palmer because of it. But I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. Like it's a joke. Let's move past it. And this whole joke thing, I know we're going to circle back to this later on in the program, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think we are a little bit sensitive in these areas. Yeah, just a little bit. Babe, what you think?
I think some jokes are like in-house jokes. Like if you have a couple that does that with each other and they play jokes and let's say the husband said, I don't want to have kids for another 3-4 years or what have you, and then the wife decides to just do a prank in-house. It'd probably be hilarious to get his reaction. And there's some stages that's not good for certain jokes. You kind of got to do what one of the greatest comedians, Paul Mooney, you got to read the room.
You got to read the room. That, what? That's a good point. And I was just having a conversation with one of my team members last week about being situationally aware. And I think that sometimes that more than anything is what causes the angst because you're not situationally aware. I just think that is that. So, well, I mean, look, Keke, Tiffany Haddish, if it is true, congratulations. If it's not, happy April Fools. It is what it is. Yeah. What else you got, Christy?
All right. So let's just stay on the celebrity kick. So on a more serious note, Bruce Willis.
I know, man. Yeah, I know.
That, I know Babe is a big Bruce Willis fan. And, I respect him. I'm not what's the one? What's that movie that you make me watch all the time? The crazy one with the other comedian, Chris
Tucker.
Chris Tucker. Oh my God.
It'll come to me. Keep talking.
Yeah, anyway. But there are a lot of Bruce Willis movies that I enjoy. Fifth Element. Thank you. That's not my movie. That's not one that I particularly enjoy, except for the part. But I'm a fan. I could say a distant fan of Bruce Willis, and that it really saddens me that he's going through. And I had never heard of this disease.
I hadn't heard of it either, and apparently there's some others that have had it, that have it going on. But I mean, the whole story about it, when I was watching Entertainment Tonight, and they said that it was so bad that they had to put an earpiece in for years. Like it wasn't just a recent thing; it was like a couple of years.
Yeah,
that they had to feed him his lines and stuff. I mean, I was just like, wow, that is really sad. My goodness, that is really sad. Yeah.
So and then I've read something, and I'm gonna try to pull it up. I thought I had the article on standby, but then I heard our boy Jim Carrey, after this movie he's doing now, is stepping away from acting. I don't think it's because of anything medical. But I heard that, and I'm like, wait a minute now, what is going on? Is this the great resignation of the celebrities?
I know, right?
What is going on?
I know, right? You know what? I am getting I invited the president and CEO of Elevation Global Media to hang out with us, and I wanted her to contribute to our conversation because there's just so much going on here. But she actually has some other commitments. But I wanted to give her a chance to just say hi to the people. So if we could bring in the Presidente, the First Lady of Communications in Baltimore City, the one, the only Cassandra Ferguson. What's up, boss lady? How are you?
I am good. How are you? Can you guys hear me okay?
We hear you. You are doing the grandma. What do your grandkids call you? Because you know, y'all have these what do they call you?
Grandma.
Okay, so you stuck with the traditional route.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I said whatever comes out of their mouth first, but they say grandma, and and I'm fine with it.
I know that's right.
It just feels good because right now our son and his wife and our two grandkids, they sold their home and they're getting another one built, so they're staying with us, right?
Okay.
And so I'll hear her down the hall, Grandma, where are you?
Oh.
And I think that's the cutest thing. So I'm fine with it.
Oh, that is awesome. That is incredible. So while you're here with us, what exciting things are you guys working on with Elevation Global Media? I know you have played a very big part in getting Headspace with Dr. Mike, as well as some other podcasts off the ground. What are some things that y'all are working on, if you wanted to just share with the people real quick?
I will share with the people. So a lot of times people think that we are just, helping with the streaming or the podcast. We have a radio. Of course, we have the radio, Elevate Your Life Talk Radio, which we're also getting into the YouTube TV, Elevate Your Life TV. But we are also partnering, let's just say, with the big boys, right? Because a lot of times as a smaller company or a smaller business, we try to compete against them, but we're collaborating because to understand that they have the resources. They can pull the demographics. They can help us to reach those areas that we cannot reach. But it's all about our clients. So if we have a client in Texas, we have a client in California or Florida, we're able to expand the brands there. And based off of, we can even pull demographics, say if somebody is on their phone, yep, every time you see an ad pop up on your phone, it's a reason, because they're watching you. Yes, they are. If somebody was searching an ad for a vacation home, or somebody was searching an ad for a certain dress style, we're able to pull those demographics and tailor your marketing plan in the area you want to reach according to that. So we just partnered with iHeart. We had already had a partnership with ABC. We had already had a partnership with Radio One. We're partnering with the Afro paper. So we're doing this so we can begin to help our clients to reach the audience they want. And it's going to be, let's just say, a sweatless victory, because we're doing all the negotiating. We're doing everything for you. All you got to do is show up and look good. That's all. That
is incredible. That is really incredible. And we were just having conversation just about the idea of how things are kind of shifting with we have celebrities that Bruce Willis with his illness, and we have Jim Carrey that's kind of stepping aside, and we'll kind of pick that conversation up. But one of the things that became really big is that I feel as if the tide is changing. Like we're starting to see different types of personalities. We're starting to have different mediums of which you can get the message out there. And there are different players in the game, if I could say, right? There are different people who are becoming different household names. Like it used to be, people because you saw them on a movie, you saw them in a TV show, you may have seen them on stage, but now it's because I recognize this person from TikTok, or I know this person from Instagram, or I tune into their podcast, right? And so I just think that is extremely important and necessary, the work that you're doing. So applaud.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I want to just piggyback on that, because the audience may not know, but I have a background in television. I used to be a news producer for a couple of stations here locally. And what I have recognized is that, you know, it used to be, oh, let's get channel such and such here to cover this story. Or if you're doing X, Y, and Z, let's get them here. And now it's like social media, the way to do that. It's really, I mean, it's still important. It's an important medium to get the message out. But right now it's really getting your pause on. You have to wait until 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock to get this news, and getting it immediately through social media, podcasts, and those ways is really that's what it is these days.
Yeah, and that's so true, Christy, because even sitting down and speaking with the iHeart and you know, them showing us the numbers of where the most of the audience is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no longer, unfortunately, it's no longer the regular TV shows, right? But it's like you said, the TikTok, it's the streaming stations and all that that's kind of taken over. But it's also one thing, Mike, I want to tell your audience, a lot of times people are intimidated. You have a message, or you have a gift, and you have something that God wants you to do, but you're intimidated because, number one, because you've never done it before. That's understandable. That's understandable. You gotta step out the boat, right? And sometimes stepping out the boat can be a little fearful, but when God has placed people around you, and that's one of my words for this year, leverage the relationships you have. You may not know how to do it, but you know what to know to go get to somebody that knows how to do it. So when you talk about the change of the tides, now listen to this. And I heard this through a conference through Bill Winston. He does a powerful business and leadership conference, and I did a virtual conference with him last weekend. The lady said, one of the speakers said, don't wait till the opportunity come to get ready. Mm-hmm. Prepare yourself before the opportunity gets there. And what you're doing is you're walking out the plan that God has already given you, and you're leveraging off of those relationships that God has connected you with. So when you walk in, it's going to be a little different. Don't base your experience off of somebody else's experience in the past. Or say it's hard. It was hard to do this. Hard. No, don't do that. Don't do that. There's a change in the tides. This is a new thing. God says in his word, I am doing a new thing. Can you not perceive it? Yeah. So until people get that I can't and I do, or what has happened in the past for other people out their mind, they'll never stop. They'll never step into their fullness. They'll never step into their impossibilities. So I'm saying that people need to leverage their relationships. They need to understand why God put certain people in your life doing certain things. Like Chrissy, I didn't know she used to do that, but I'm going to tap into her now.
Tap on, sister. And I'm going to tap right back. I'm tapping right back.
One of the things that we're also going to do is media coaching. We need some media coaches, right? To help people, to strengthen them to walk out. So this is what I'm just saying, just to understand where we are right now. We're not going back to what we used to be. We're not. Get that out your mind. Yeah. God is doing a new thing, and you got to leverage. You got to pay attention to what's happening, the way things are happening, and you got to be fully present in the moment. That's all I want.
That is awesome. Wow. You know what? You were supposed to be coming on to participate in other piece of the conversation, but you didn't mess around, and you did your assignment.
I don't mess around.
And just
spoke a word.
What you were supposed to do. And so we thank you for hanging out with us, and we definitely appreciate the support and the love, and we want you to enjoy soccer practice with Muffin.
Muffin. Look, Muffin is good, y'all. So I want y'all to remember Muffin name.
Muffin. What is Muffin?
Liana Blake Ferguson. You guys remember that name because she is good. Okay. She is really good. As a 2-year-old, no, and I'm not just saying it because I'm a grandma, right?
I got you.
I'm saying that because the girl got skills.
All right.
The U.S. women's national team for soccer better be prepared.
Right. They better be ready. And she coming with a grandma. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, Cassandra. We love you.
All right. We love you guys
We'll
too.
talk to you soon. All righty. We're going to go ahead and
Cassandra, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We're going to go ahead and take a break, Crystal. 2020 gave birth to a lot of endeavors. Here in 2021, everyone has had to get in touch with their inner producer. Our man Garrett Brace is one of those guys you need on your team. We at Headspace with Dr. Mike are clients of his, as he ensures all of our audio files are crisp, clean, and cool. If you have any audio, video, and even lighting needs, hit him up at G Walt Services on Instagram. Remember, G Walt Services, servicing all your audio, video, and lighting needs. So it's amazing. God does things the way he gonna do them. And my head note for today is making room for more. And it goes right in line with what Cassandra shared with us. There is a saying I've heard from time and time from a man by the name of Richard Cox that says, act like the leader you want to be. And this quote actually has caused some to be a little confused because they receive it as, you know, while you're acting one way while being another, and in turn it suggests that that you lack authenticity and genuineness. But one of the things that I took that as is, you start stepping into the role and focus on the next thing, right? Sometimes we get so comfortable in our status quo, which in turn causes us to settle in place. We tend to get comfortable, right? We in turn stop dreaming. We stop casting vision. We stop hanging out with the people that encourage us to move in a new direction. We tend to stay with the folk who kind of allow us to stay in the spot, right? One of the things I do appreciate about my circle is that I have a circle of folk who really know that there are things that they know that God has called me to do. And there are things that I've acknowledged that God has called me to do, and they will not let me be comfortable in just sitting in complacency and lack a desire to do the next thing. There's a great verse in Isaiah chapter 54 that speaks to this. Verse 1 says, shout for joy, O barren woman who bears no children. Break forth in song and cry aloud, you who have never travailed, because more are the children of the desolate woman than of her who has a husband, says the Lord. Enlarge the sight of your tent, stretch out the curtains of your dwellings, do not hold back, lengthen your ropes and drive your stakes in deep. For you will spread out to the right and left. Your descendants will dispossess the nations and inhabit the desolate cities. And one of the things that I'll never forget when that passage was preached, a sermon I heard someone preach. It talks about the whole idea that, yes, right now, the woman is barren. Right now, she doesn't look like she's going to give birth. Right now, the odds seem to be stacked against you to get what it is that you're hoping to get and to get what I promised you. But the key is God promised it. God said it. He said it. He said it was going to happen. And I want you to start putting yourself in a posture, just as Cassandra said, start being ready to receive it. Start putting yourself in a position to get what it is and start walking in that future. So, one of the things that we do when we're losing weight, we tend to kind of take some of the big clothes and we throw them out. Why? Because we're saying, look, I done lost the weight. I can't fit. These clothes are too big for me. I'm going to start the process of, putting those away so it's not comfortable for me to go back into those big clothes. What some people will do is they'll say, look, I'm not buying any clothes bigger than this size. So if I get to a point where these things start to hug on me, then guess what? It means I got to start stepping back. That's acting like the person you want to be. That's putting yourself in the position to grow and to be ready to move into the things that you're supposed to move into. One of the things I want to challenge all of us is in this season, especially as things are picking back up, life is starting to be consistently normal again, right? And notice what I'm saying here. I'm not saying it's going to be normal, because normal is always going to, it's a spectrum, right? Normal is going to be what it's going to be when it's going to be it. But what we are noticing is that we're staying in a season a little longer than it was over the last couple of years, right? We went through the ups and downs of the COVID, and we went through the opening and closing and this and that. And it looks like, Lord willing, we're in a position where things are starting to get better, where we're going to be able to be in these seasons a little longer. And as you're starting to do that, start making room for what it is that you're supposed to do. Here's the thing I want to tell you about, is that God's integrity, his character is at stake here. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is this: God is not capable of lying. God is not capable of being deceitful. God is not capable of tricking us. That's just not that's not a part of his character. That's not a part of his personality. That's not who he is. So if he's laid this thing on your heart, then what that means is that he's going to make a provision for you to get there. And even if it doesn't look the way you think it should look, know that it's the process. What I always say about process, series of events that must take place in order for one big event to happen. And that's why we need to make sure we're making room for more. And guess what, y'all? That's my heads up.
Follow the Headspace with Dr. Mike show on all social media platforms at Headspace DM. We want to keep you up to date on all of our hot topics and keep the dialogue going even after the show. We also value what's important to you and your community. DM your show ideas to us on Instagram or Facebook. The next time you log on, you may hear Dr. Mike discussing the very topic or issue close to your heart.
All right, y'all. Christy, you were talking about Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is leaving. I apologize. We wanted to make sure we got the president in, but thank you for kind of opening it up, because I did not know about Jim Carrey stepping down from acting.
Yeah, he said, "I've done enough." I'm quoting him now. I've done enough. He's retiring. He said, "I enjoy." What is that direct quote? I really like my quiet life, and I really love putting paint on canvas, and I really love my spiritual life. And I feel like this is something that you might never hear another celebrity say as long as time exists. I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough.
Okay. I get it. You know what? I think I appreciate that now that I'm in my 40s. I think I can appreciate that. I don't know. What do y'all think about that?
So his level of creativity and genius, everybody should know that Jim Carrey shares a piece of the spectrum, where just his creativity and where he is and what he's given. Yeah. I applaud him for being smart enough to say, you know what, I need to unplug before my light burns out.
Yeah.
You got some people that go and go and go, and they pass from stress-related things because they keep giving and keep giving, and they don't have anything left to retire with. He said, listen, I'm good. So why I keep going? You know, acting has changed anyway. He was a really physical comedian.
Excellent point.
So he did a lot of things that you won't see comedic actors doing today, as far as their bodies and what they put themselves through. So that's smart. Yeah.
You brought up a great point. When I look at the body of Jim Carrey's work, he like you said, he really puts himself. He does those sound effects. He jerks his body around, and he's hilarious. And he's always invited to the cookout since his days from In Living Color, you know. But
Fire Marshal Bill.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. That's exactly when I couldn't think of his name. All I said to Mike this morning was, "Let me tell you something." He was like, "Oh, Jim Carrey." I'm like,
Fire Marshal Bill.
Yes. Yeah. So I will miss the potential of new projects with him, but he has such a catalog. We watch Liar Liar, and what's the other one where him and his wife go on not the lamb, but they start robbing people.
Oh, and he was indicted.
Yeah, indicted. Anyway, that one
is hilarious.
We can't think of no movies until the last. But yeah, that movie is something with Dick and Jane.
It's just Dick and Jane.
Yeah. So bravo to him. Bravo to him.
Bravo, Jim Carrey. Bravo. We wish you all the best, and thank you for leaving us a great, like you said, catalog that we can definitely celebrate your giftedness.
Yep.
I'm hurt about Bruce though, man.
Yeah, the Bruce thing. You know, John McClane will never be the same. Do you know that whenever I take a long flight, when I get to the hotel, I take my socks and my shoes and socks off and just rub my toes on the carpet, just because of that. Like that movie, it's just like a habit I do.
Oh my goodness!
I know it's the weirdest thing, but I do that. Like especially if I do like a transcontinental, like if I go to LA or something, that's one of the first things I do is take my shoes and socks off and just like rub my feet on the
nice
carpet.
McClane, yes sir.
Lord have mercy. What else you got, Christy?
Is it time?
It's almost there. We're almost time. We're gonna take a break before we do that. So you got a couple more pieces though.
I do. So we're talking about retiring and people knowing when to hold them and fold them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to transition that into the political world.
Okay.
You know, and I'm saying that because we have a lot of senators. You know, thank God governors have a 2-year, you know,
2-term limit.
2 terms they can do. Not 2-year, 2-term. Thank you, Mike. But I'm bringing up to say some people just need to step it back. They need to take a couple seats. You know, when I think about individuals such as Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, I am just pretty much over them. But
well, the thing about Ted Cruz is considered a junior senator.
And it feels like he's been there for a lifetime.
He does seem like he's been there for a long time.
Yeah. And I'm not just, and I know that might sound very Republican leading. I am not just talking about Republicans. I think Pelosi needs to have several seats.
Yeah.
The list. Oh, what's her? Oh gosh, I'm having a brain freeze.
Schumer.
Yes, he needs to have a seat. There are several that need to say, you know what? I'm going to take Jim Carrey's. I've done enough. I am enough. Let me sit down.
Time to go.
But I brought all that up to say that Arizona is seemingly they big mad about turning blue this last presidential election. So the governor has just signed into law a proof of citizenship law that the Arizonians have to have proof of citizenship in order to vote in the next presidential election or presidential elections to come. So of course that's not flying too well with many of the people on the left, maybe even in the center. So yeah, what do we think about that?
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, they're making even the Ketanji Brown situation, they're making that a thing. Because they're trying to build this case. It's funny you say about Arizona because one of the issues that they're dealing with is her. They're trying to make it a thing that she's soft on crime, and which is it's fascinating to me because first of all she's a federal judge, so I get it, but the types of crimes that she deals with are not on the same level as what the major cities are dealing with, right? So it's a catch-22, but they're using those buzzwords to make people like, Arizona, like the senator in Arizona, the Gabby Giffords husband, the astronaut, right? Mm-hmm. So they got him, right? Because he surprised everybody and won. And then you had Raphael Warnock down in Atlanta, right? Down in Georgia. So you got that because both of them are in seats that are being contested and stuff. And so they're building this case. I've come to this conclusion. Politics just suck. Like they just really suck. And it's hard to watch the whole situation. But one thing I do take solace in is that God is not caught off guard by it. And he gets the final say. And it's just funny, like we're watching the situation with Clarence Thomas play out. That's going to be very fascinating to see how that does in turn play out because there was some shady stuff that happened with the Supreme Court stuff earlier on, with the last president, right? And now I just find that things just end up going full circle, So it's wild. It's wild. But what that does say to me is that I need to do my part where I'm at, and I'm encouraging our listeners to do their part where you're at. Encourage people to vote. Encourage people to vote. And there's some major stuff that's on the ballot. The decriminalization of marijuana. While we were paying attention to the slap that was heard around the world, the House of Representatives just voted to allow it to be to kind of take off the. I don't want to call it decriminalization because I know there's another. Well, no, it's the whole idea of right now. You can, as a state, because in Maryland we're dealing with it where it's going to be on the ballot in November. Yeah. As a state, it can be legal, right? But it doesn't change you from the federal issue. So it's still federally outlawed, right? And what they're doing is the House is actually in the process. They just voted to make it so that wouldn't be the case. Now, what it does in the Senate, I don't know. I highly doubt that it'll go farther because, you know, and I'll be honest with you, it's not about just drugs. It's about, in my opinion, keeping a certain portion of our population at a disadvantage. Because when you decriminalize it, what it means then is that you have to let some of those folk go out of jail.
So, my biggest thing with that is, we heard the word earlier, leveraging, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you open those doors, now the government is able to leverage what people have been doing anyway.
That's
but
right.
Now they get to do like they do with everything else, get the big piece of it, and leave the crumbs on the table. So why spend money having somebody stand in front of a judge when I can just take money from what they're spending and let them go about their business?
That's right.
It's the root of water, easiest route, and plus we benefit. That's how I feel about that.
And another part of that is the flip side, because we've had this discussion before. You know, when they decriminalize, it's tricky. We got to look at everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
We feel like the decriminalization of marijuana is also a trick, because
absolutely,
when you do that, right, and they're giving out these marijuana cards, and you can go and get your marijuana, right? You can no longer have a what, baby?
Can't carry a weapon legally.
You cannot carry a weapon legally.
You can't have both licenses. You just can't.
Right.
Right. And so you get that so you can get all the weed you want, right? But now you don't have the right to bear arms.
Wow.
You know, and so we gotta look at we gotta look at it from both sides of it. So you know, Rob was like, I would never get that card or even a tech. You know, that's just not smart. I gotta be able to protect my family.
Yeah. So, yeah. Especially the way these people are acting now.
Hello.
Seriously, the way the folk acting now. Yeah. You started with the thing about Arizona, but they're really, I think it's a bigger conversation about making sure we are informed and educated about what it is that is happening. Mm-hmm. That's a good food for thought. Let's go ahead and take a break because we got some stuff to talk about. Let's do it, Crystal.
Our world is filled with polarizing topics that land most people on one side or the other. The Headspace with Dr. Mike team isn't afraid to take them on. Monthly, we will invite people on both sides of some of the most controversial topics, from the serious to the silly, to debate their positions. We look forward to charged discussions that will inform and entertain. DM your head-to-head show ideas to us on Instagram or Facebook at Headspace DM.
The internet is just acting up these days, isn't it? It's just really not acting right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The Oscars were going so well. I was even commenting about how, for the first time in a long time, I literally laughed through most of the show.
Can we talk about the good stuff first, Mike?
Sure.
Okay. So first of all, the 3 female hosts.
Excellent.
That opening dialogue. I can't talk today.
It's okay.
The beginning, I thought that was excellent. I mean, that joke about they hired the 3 women because it was cheaper than hiring a man. Like, I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. I thought the jokes were funny.
Beyonce kicked it off with Everything in Green.
And I ain't a huge Beyonce fan, but that beginning presentation was just phenomenal. I was just blown away.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Shout out to what's the drummer's name? Questlove for winning his Oscar. Shout out to Samuel L. Jackson for his honorary Oscar.
The governor's award. Yeah.
Yes, the young lady, forgive me because I can't remember all these people's names, but who for West Side Story, who won the Latina, Afro-Latina.
Mm-hmm.
Just so
Which,
many.
by the way, Rita Moreno won it when she did it.
I know. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, that was
just so many our boy from Baltimore who was
Yes.
directing the orchestra.
Orchestra, yeah.
Will Packer who produced it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, that was everything. And I'm gonna tell you, I had not initially planned on watching.
I know. We
I
talked
think we
about
talked about
week.
this, but I'm so glad. I'm glad I did for many reasons.
Yeah.
But then there was the slap heard around the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think we necessarily need to. I mean, it's been talked about to death.
Oh yeah, it's been
right.
I mean, so much has happened since. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so many, like you said, layers to this thing.
Yeah.
Beyond the slap itself.
Yeah.
Where shall we start, Mike?
Well, I guess the first thing I want to start with is because my first initial response, the whole idea of going to protect his wife's honor, right? Like I thought about that. Like that was actually, to be honest with you, for a good day, I was standing more for Will, because everybody was picking sides, right? And I was just like, my question has always been, what is it that would drive you to be willing to risk it all, right? Just to say, you know what, I don't care, because this, and at first I was prepared for that whole conversation, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess for me, let's talk about that for a minute, because I heard some different responses. Like I get confused, and Rob, you can help me out too, because I get confused sometimes. And this is going to sound so funny. What do y'all want, Christy? Like, what do y'all want? Do y'all want us to do that for you? Do you not want us to do it for you? I just sometimes feel like if the sun is at a certain peak and if the moon is tilted a certain way, then y'all want this. But then if it's this, like, what is it that y'all want? Because I get a little confused. Okay. Rob, am I the only one that gets a little confused?
The only reason I'm not confused is because when it's time for something like that, I believe it's our duty to make a decision.
Okay.
So we need to be in a place that we are supposed to be the leaders of the house. Yep. We're supposed to be in a position to lead the situations. Yep. So I'm not confused. I kind of know when it's too much for my wife, I can see it. And if I need to step up, I can see it. So I'm good.
Okay. And we want to be protected. I don't have an issue with Will protecting his wife at all. Mm-hmm. I would have been appalled if Rob had gotten up at the Oscars and assaulted someone. Now, if he had held his peace and then handled it on the street or, in private, then if that's what he felt like he needed to do, then so be it. But I would have been appalled and appeared if he had done that.
Sharella said, "Who's y'all?" Yes, boo. We know where you at. I was just, I was talking in general. Let me make sure I fix that. But Sharella and I talked about that part because Sharella said, I don't understand how she let him get up. And I thought about that because I can hear Sharella now. Mike, I would have been called Michael. Then she would have said to Denzel, "Get him."
I've had to do that. I've had to been like, baby, this is because Rob is as I will use Will Smith's words, a fierce protector of his family. Okay. He ain't never scared. Okay. Let me just put it that way. I have had to talk him down in my best wifely voice to be like, baby, please calm down. I would have, you would have seen me be like, babe, no, you would have something.
Yep.
I don't know.
Real quick on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
The reason why that didn't happen is because if you look at this relationship with them two, if you see who is leading that household, she is the boss in the chair and he's one of the henchmen. Yeah. It was funny for a split second when it became not funny. And you could see the glance at him, and next thing you know, you see Will on camera. She been calling the shots their whole marriage. I'll stop right there because it's deeper than that.
Sharella just chimed in. She said she had to. I will plead the fifth on that one. Sharella said she had to do the calm down, the get me sat down a little bit. Yeah,
right. Here's the thing. it's a time and it's so many. We needed the whole show, Mike. It's a time and a place for things.
Yeah.
The Oscar wasn't the place for that. But we have to also realize it is clear, it is obvious that Will is dealing with some things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Jada.
Even beyond that, dealing with his mother being abused by his father.
Have you read his book? Have you read his book?
I have not.
Yeah, his book gives a lot of insight into what's going on, because one of the things he talks about even early on is that he was a coward.
Yes.
And he allowed people to step on him, and it's a whole lot there. The other piece that I want to talk about, though, is, and I think that this, you can really appreciate this, Rob, as well, is that there are implications for our actions, right? And the implications go beyond us, right? So yeah, he's stepping down from the Oscars, like, so he's resigned from the Academy. Got it. All right, cool. Well, here's the thing: what happens to the cast of Bel-Air? Is Bel-Air going to still be a thing, right? So now you got all those actors who, you know, their livelihood has some laws of that. You got any other films that he's a part of? Are people even going to want to be a part of it just because of the fact that's connected to him, right? And I don't know. I don't know how. I feel as if everybody says, well, he's going to be all right, but I don't know. Like, is anything? I mean, yeah, he will personally be all right, but what about those who are relying on him? You know, there comes a point where you have a responsibility. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. You have a responsibility. People are connected to you who rely upon, beyond your family, you know, who rely upon what you do work-wise and in your career, and the personal decisions you make are attached to their paycheck. Do I think this is going to devastate Will's career? No. I think that it will be a topic of discussion for some time. We'll get to a place where this will be a joke. It already has been, but this will become a joke. And he'll get beyond it. What I can say is I appreciate, despite his actions, I appreciate him being a man about it and apologizing to those who he has affected, apologizing to Chris. And let's not get lost about on Chris here. Like, a lot of people talking about Will, you know, Chris has been impacted about this. I mean, regarding this, and like, he is not ready. I appreciate him saying, you know what, I'm still processing that, and I'm working through it. His brother, I don't know if you saw his brother's
he's not
yet.
On site.
He's hot.
Yeah, on site.
I personally think Tony Rock is funnier than Chris Rock.
I do too. Actually, I do.
But that's
so Kevin posed a great question. He said, let me impose this question on you, Dr. D. Would you get up and protect Sharella's honor if she had the hair condition that Jada has? Absolutely. I would make it clear that was off limits. I don't know that I can't. There's something that you learn about in college called Johari's window. And in Johari's window, there's the unknown. Like, you just don't know until you don't know. I don't think I would have acted that way, but I don't know. I don't know. Not the Oscars.
You wouldn't have done that. I would have been on the. You could have bought me for 2 cents if Dr. Mike got up and did that.
Yeah. I wouldn't have.
It wasn't an attack. I mean, you know, when I found out she had alopecia after Chris Rock got smacked, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I don't follow her Red Table Talk.
I knew, and
who does? I'm sorry.
Red Table was very popular, but mostly with women. So
right.
But I do know a lot of women that didn't know either. But I did know. I had read about it, you know, in my just, you know, comings and goings. But let me just, this kind of goes back to
she had a bald head at the end to set it off. She cut it off to set it off.
I
That's
know.
What I think about.
But here's the thing, though, right? I'm gonna be transparent. When Chris Rock told the joke, even though I knew she had alopecia, I cracked up. I thought it was hilarious. And I didn't associate it with because of the alopecia. Her head is bald like G.I. Jane. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, that's hilarious. I mean, I think Will looks beautiful. I mean, not Will. Jada looks beautiful no matter what her hair looks like. I honestly do. I thought she looked gorgeous that night.
Yep.
I didn't link it to him associating it with her having alopecia. It was just the look of G.I. Jane in her at that time. Thought it was hilarious. Now, I'm not insensitive to the fact that somebody who has alopecia would take offense to that. I can totally see that. Right? But it goes back to what I said in the beginning. Has society gotten too sensitive? These are the same. Okay, I know we got to get to the break. Thank you, Crystal. All right. Let me just pause on that because I want to talk about jokes and insensitivity and the things that we've joked about in the past. All right, should we go to break, Dr. Mike?
Yeah, let's go to break real quick. Let's pay a bill. Focused on photo, versed in video, For Any Media brings visions to life from headshots to family shoots, casual candids to structured scenes. Our team can provide whatever you need. In Baltimore, you may have seen us at local events such as the Poly City Tailgate or the Randallstown Romp. You can find us on all social media platforms at the number 4 Any Media. For any media, for anything. Contact us so we can create.
Okay, so real quick, we've talked about Whitney Houston and her drug problems. We've talked about R. Kelly and his issues, Bill Cosby. I mean, we've talked about what's the other example I had that's slipping my mind right now? But so many things. The mayor of DC and his drug problems, Marion Barry. That's been a joke in the Black community and beyond for years while these people were dealing with the issues, right?
Stevie Wonder's receding hairline.
Oh my gosh. Yep. Like we've talked about these things and now it's a problem.
That Stevie can't see though.
We talked about him not being able to see, but he jokes about it himself. But,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He jokes about it.
I don't know, y'all.
No, you're right. You're right. We've gotten to a place, but you know what was, and I'm not trying to make everything overly spiritual. I try not to be that guy, but the Bible does say that you're gonna get to a place where people are just everything offends them. Like everybody finds everything offensive. And we're living in that world. And you're right, the conversation is much bigger than this, right? This is just one microcosm of what we're dealing with as a society. You know, everything is offensive. Like, you know, you get a person's pronouns wrong, you are the worst person in the world, right? And it's like, I don't know what to call you. You know, I don't. I was watching an old episode of Atlanta because, believe it or not, I never really watched Atlanta. Have y'all watched Atlanta? And so I was watching the one. This is the first season when Paperboy was on the little TV show with talking about the trans, and the guy wanted to be transracial. And so the thing about it was, he said, I want to be a white man. and he said he was a developer for Apple. And they interviewed his mom. She said he don't work.
Oh Lord, that's Mike. It's gone.
Listen.
But the point I'm making is that, like, we live in a world now where everything is offensive to everybody, and I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. I don't have the answer to that. I don't know.
So I have one point is media control. So that's why we have to watch what we do.
Yeah.
In the public eye. And I don't care. People say, oh, well, we shouldn't have to worry about standards. And you do, because we have to go against a narrative that's slanted against us. So we do have responsibility to do things differently.
Yeah.
But what I will say is the media loves it when we look bad, and they will do everything they can to center on that point. Where's the video at where Will Smith didn't just leave the Oscars? Neither did Chris Rock. There is a video of these two men in tears, okay, talking. You can see the apology. You see Chris Rock shaking his head. You see them hug before them two men left that building. Where's that at?
Did that? Are we sure that did happen?
I saw the video.
Okay.
I saw it. Once I saw the video, then it started showing up on TikTok feed.
Okay.
And I saw the video of them two standing in front of the stage almost talking. There wasn't anybody right there directly around. You see people moving around, but you saw them two men having a moment.
Okay.
Don't know what was said, but at that point, if the right thing wasn't being said, Chris Rock had all right to climb up one side of the wheel and down the other. But that's not what was going on. It was a conversation. You see him shaking his head. You see the embrace with them two. Nobody's seen that. I've saw it. It's not even a word of mouth. If somebody says, "Oh, Will Smith did this," I watched it myself yesterday.
Okay.
You can see this as those two men. That's not going to be everywhere like the slap is going to be. We got the slap in a foreign language. That's how fast it came out. But that video with those two black men being better than that moment is buried.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. You're right. There is a narrative. I really do appreciate that you said that, Rob, because that is true. Because I think that narrative is sexier, right? That's what sells the story.
And can we talk about Chris Rock's restraint?
Oh
man,
I don't know.
Professionalism.
Yes, I don't know how many men, black, white, Asian. I don't care which. That would have been a whole brawl.
Well, he was disrespected too. So not only did he get slapped, but then Will turned his back to him and walked back as if he knew that he wasn't. I mean, that was the ultimate. That was like the ultimate. Like you knew nobody was going to do nothing to you.
Yeah. It was, and it took a minute to even believe that wasn't a joke. Like we just like, oh, that must have been.
I went to bed not convinced that it was. I went to bed still convinced that it was probably a joke. It took me the next day to realize no, that was not a joke. Because Sherelle said, I think that was real. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Like I just didn't.
When Will the vitriol that in which he said, "Keep my mouth."
I saw it. I mean, I saw it. I know.
That's when I was like, "Oh no, that's
Sherelle said this is real."
That looked like Rob right there, like getting angry about something. So that wasn't acting.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's going to definitely be something that is going to get unpacked even more. I'm sad that it happened. I really am, because I was ready to celebrate Chris winning that. I mean, not Chris, Will winning that Oscar. Like I was ready to celebrate that. I was ready to celebrate that, and I was ready to see what other bodies of work come out as a result of that. I mean, just Ingenue, like being able to see her and what she did in that film, and then the little girls, and anyway, nonetheless, we'll definitely keep everybody posted and prayed up. Rob, you have one more closing thought?
No, I just want to know that y'all know a little bit of the history with that particular family and Chris Rock. It goes back to the same program, 2016.
They boycotted it, yeah.
And then it was a joke about it. So
yeah. There was a lot to it. I'm sure in the days to come we're going to hear more. I'm just sad that it had to happen that way, but nonetheless, Rob, thank you, man, for hanging out with us today. We definitely have to do it again when you can. It's always nice to have your point of view on the show. And thank you to Madam President Cassandra Ferguson for taking a couple minutes before Muffin's soccer practice. Mason was quiet today. He didn't have anything to chime in on.
He's with his auntie downstairs. He's being entertained by his auntie Shaw.
Okay, all right. Well, with that being said, Crystal, do we have to take another? Oh, no, we just get out of here. All right, everybody, thank you all for just hanging out with us. We always try to keep it real. And until next time, peace.
Thanks for tuning in to Headspace with Dr. Mike. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to follow us on social media at Headspace DM to continue the dialogue with other Headspacers regarding today's show. Everyone is filling their headspace with something. The question is, what are you filling yours with? Tune in next week.